1, 2, 3, 4.
What's up? Welcome back to the Hauntological Society, the place where we talk about paranormal happenings. My name's Eric. I'm your host. And with me, as always,
Wendy.
What's up, Wendy?
How much?
Here we are, back fresh from the vacation. Feeling all vacationed. Feeling all relaxed. We had a good time at the beach. Hope everybody had a good 4th of July. Wendy, did you have a good time at the beach?
I did. I had a super stressful time. I can't say that I feel relaxed, but I went on vacation.
Oh, man. I love the ocean. Feels good to be back. Everybody, thanks for coming back to listen to us. I got a good story planned for you today. We're going to talk about some cryptids. Buckle up, get your seatbelts fastened, because today we are going to Michigan. Wendy, are you familiar with cryptids in Michigan?
Sorta.
Today we are talking about the Michigan Dogman. Now, there's a difference between a dogman and a werewolf. Are you familiar with that difference is?
No.
A werewolf implies that it transforms from man to beast. A dogman is just a dogman.
Okay, I got you.
Non-transformative.
Makes sense.
And it's also considered different from Bigfoot. The reports sound kind of similar, but it's not a Bigfoot. It's like a dog type creature. I know this sounds pretty crazy, but there's lots of credible like witnesses and stuff out there. Lots of happenings. There's lots of different like books and stories. Beast of Bray Road is one of the most famous stories. The Michigan Dogman is probably the most famous dogman, but he's not just confined to Michigan. He's all over. But the main one is in Michigan. So they're around.
Maybe one of his litter made it to Bray Road.
He had a puppy that made it to Bray Road. The not the runt of the litter. Oh man. I don't know what I would do if I saw like a giant dog walking to me. That would be mind blowing to say the least. What would you do if you like walked outside? There was like a 6-8 foot tall dog walking at you.
Go back in and shut the door.
Run like hell. That's like a new meaning to a hellhound. Completely different. Okay, so let's talk about the Michigan Dogman a little bit and see where we go. Now, you can't talk about the Michigan Dogman without talking about one of the famous reporter who brought it to the spotlight. But the story of the Dogman goes all the way back to the 1800s, and it's still carried on to this day. People are still seeing it. It's still around. And by the way, this story was suggested to us by a friend of the podcast and long-time listener. I say long time since we began. So Julie and Brian, this goes out to you. Thank you for suggesting the Michigan Dogman. All right, here we go. In the late 1800s, in the state of Michigan was growing the state of Michigan was growing into the state we know today. As an industrial, hard-working state with lots of land and natural resources, nestled up to the Great Lakes, the landscape is beautiful but still rugged and harsh due to extreme cold and snowfall each winter. Settlers were there to take advantage of natural resources like mining and logging, and today it's known as the hub of the American automobile industry. But something else is lurking deep within the state. Though not specifically designated to just Michigan, it's the state most associated with this cryptid, known as the Dogman. In 1887, 2 loggers witnessed what they claimed was a 7-foot tall creature who appeared to have the face and head of a canine on top of a human body. It walked upright or bipedally. They also said it had yellowish eyes that shine in the dark, and it let out a hellish scream that was half howl, half-blood curdling cry. Now, if you're with me at this point, you're probably saying to yourself, talking about a werewolf, but I must say not exactly, because a werewolf implies that it can change from human to wolf, but a dogman is always a dogman. Doesn't morph into human. Now, before you roll your eyes into the back of your head, I would like to introduce you to the most famous skeptic turned believer, who helped usher in the tales of the dogman into the popular culture and mainstream cryptozoology. Meet Linda S. Godfrey. Long before the legend of the Michigan Dogman reached modern ears, a Wisconsin journalist named Linda S. Godfrey stepped into the shadows of American folklore and emerged as one of the foremost chroniclers of upright cannon sightings in North America. Her journey into the unknown began in 1991 when she was assigned a quirky local news story in the small town of Akron, Wisconsin. Residents had begun reporting something strange near a rural stretch of pavement known as Bray Road. A large, wolf-like creature walking on two legs, darting across roads, crouching near roadkill, or even staring at drivers from the edge of the woods. Now, at first, Linda approached the story with a journalist's skepticism. She fully expected to write a tongue-in-cheek piece, perhaps chalking it up to Halloween jitters or overactive imaginations. But as she began speaking to witnesses, that skepticism began to shift. These were not wild-eyed eccentrics or bored teenagers. They were farmers, teachers, and working-class locals. Many were genuinely frightened, and their stories were remarkably consistent. A creature, over 6 feet tall, walking like a man but shaped like a wolf, with glowing eyes and a terrifying presence. That story became her first foray into what would become a lifelong investigation. Over the years, Linda began to collect dozens, eventually hundreds of similar encounters, not just in Wisconsin, but across the Midwest. When she published her groundbreaking book, The Beast of Bray Road, in 2003, it wasn't just a collection of stories or tales. It was a serious piece of investigative work. She documented sightings and maps with maps and interviews, cross-referenced reports, and unearthed historic accounts stretching back decades. As the stories poured in, one thing became increasingly clear. Whatever people were seeing, it wasn't isolated to one lonely road in Wisconsin. Now, Linda's research led her to Michigan, where stories of a similar creature dubbed the Dogman have been circulating for decades, including the now famous 1887 account from Wexford County. She recognized the pattern immediately: a bipedal wolf-like creature, typically encountered near rural or liminal spaces, often by unsuspecting people who were not looking for trouble. These weren't campfire ghosts. They were coming from hunters, drivers, and families in small towns. Her later books, including Hunting the American Werewolf and Real Wolfmen, explored wider scope of this phenomenon, connecting dogman sightings to Native American legends, ancient mythology, and even theories involving interdimensional beings. What made Linda Godfrey's work stand out wasn't just her research, it was her approach. She never sensationalized, she never claimed to have all the answers. She was a believer in possibilities, not fantasies. She took her witnesses seriously, but she also brought a critical eye and a journalist's instinct for her detail. Her legacy lies in proving what the Dogman is, but not in, God damn it, every time. Her legacy lies not in proving what the Dogman is, but in asking why so many people across time and geography claim to have seen something so strange, so consistent, and so deeply unsettling. When Linda passed away in 2022, the cryptozoological world lost one of its most respected voices. But the trail she blazed through the woods of folklore and fear remains. Thanks to her, the Dogman is no longer just a whispered legend, it's a legitimate mystery, and one that continues to howl at the edge of the known world. So what could a Dogman really be? If the Dogman is real, physical creature, then it's likely something that has evolved or adapted in secret. Perhaps a nocturnal predator with an instinct for staying hidden. The dense forests, swamps, and back roads of places like Michigan and Wisconsin are offered thousands of square miles where a stealthy animal could live largely undetected. We already know that new species are still being discovered even in North America. Take the mountain lion, for example, Despite being one of the continent's largest predators, it's rarely seen and often goes unrecorded until it shows up on a trail cam. If something larger or intelligent and primarily nocturnal existed, especially one that actively avoided human contact, it might never cross paths with people unless by accident, like Bigfoot. And then there's the theory of what we call the Dogman could be a relic hominid. Some people believe Bigfoot is also a relic hominid. A branch of human or canine evolution that splintered off long ago, something like a mix between primitive biped and a predatory animal. Some researchers have suggested that it could be a result of a convergent evolution, where different species develop similar traits independently. In this view, the Dogman wouldn't be supernatural at all, just highly elusive, flesh and blood survivor from a lineage science has yet to uncover. If it lives deep in unpopulated wildernesses, migrates with the seasons, and relies on stealth to avoid humans, it could easily explain how it's remained in the shadows for so long, just a breath away from discovery. While many Dogman theories center around physical cryptids or supernatural folklore, a number of more obscure interpretations have developed, some of which challenge the boundaries of conventional science, reality, and belief. These lesser-known theories, through speculative, provide a broader lens, which is to understand the enduring mystery of the Dogman phenomenon. Now, the first theory is the interdimensional being. One fringe theory suggests that the Dogman is not a physical creature in the traditional sense, but rather an interdimensional entity. According to this view, the creature manifests through rifts or window areas, locations where the fabric of reality is believed to be thin. Witnesses sometimes describe the Dogman vanishing instantly or moving in unnatural ways, which proponents interpret as signs of interdimensional travel. Similar theories have been proposed about their unexplained phenomena, such as shadow people and certain types of UFOs. Another one is a genetic experiment or a government-created hybrid. And this theory presents that the Dogman is the result of a clandestine genetic experimentation, possibly developed by military or government entities. Some believe these creatures were engineered for reconnaissance, psychological operations, or even combat, and that sightings represent either escaped specimens or field tests. While there is no direct evidence for this theory, it's often supported by anecdotal accounts of the Dogman encounters near restricted or government-owned land. Another thing is the psychic manifestation or thought form. In esoteric or occult circles, the Dogman is sometimes described as a tulpa, a being brought into existence through intense mental focus, belief, or emotional energy. This concept, rooted in Tibetan mysticism, suggests that concentrated fear or folklore could give rise to a sentient, semi-physical entity. In this context, the Dogman can be seen as a cultural thought form, a creature sustained by collective belief and reinforced by repeated storytelling and encounters. And, of course, there's the demonic or a supernatural shapeshifter, very similar to a skinwalker, but not the same thing. Some interpretations, particularly within religious and paranormal frameworks, consider the Dogman to be a demonic entity or a supernatural shapeshifter. In these beliefs, the creature is not natural in origin, but instead a spiritual or infernal manifestation. Reports of glowing red eyes, sense of overwhelming dread, and the creature's apparent resistance to injury are cited as indications of its non-human, possibly malevolent nature. And of course, the last one is the relic of ancient mythology. There are those who view Dogman as a survivor of ancient mythological traditions, a real creature that inspired legends across different cultures, from the I'm going to butcher this, Cynocephali of Greco-Roman writings in the Egyptian the Egyptian deity Anubis. Stories of a dog-headed humanoids have existed for millennia. According to this theory, the Dogman may represent a biological or spiritual remnant of those ancient beings persisting quietly into the modern age, hidden from mainstream understanding. Now, these interpretations, while speculative, illustrate the wide range of beliefs surrounding the Dogman phenomenon. They highlight just how much uncertainty still surrounds the creature, or how our understanding of it continues to evolve, shaped by folklore, eyewitness testimony, and the enduring mysteries of the unknown. No matter what you believe or don't believe, the truth remains that people are witnessing something that's truly terrifying them. So instead of ridiculing these witnesses about seeing a walking dog, perhaps it's our duty to investigate what's really happening to these witnesses from a scientific perspective. Just remember, since the 1900s, we have discovered, and I quote, a mountain gorilla confirmed in 1902, a Saola discovered in 1992, which is a elusive Asian antelope, a giant forest hog discovered in 1904, a Mura's whale identified in 2003, megamouth shark discovered in 1976, a giant soft-shell turtle was discovered in the mid-20th century, a Vu Quang ox, or the large antlered Winchak, discovered in 1994, and the giant squid, confirmed by footage in somewhere between 2004 and 2012. So all those creatures that we found in the past century are gigantic creatures, and we're still finding creatures every day. So it's possible that the Dogman is still out there, and perhaps he's watching you from the woods.
Ruff, ruff.
And that is the story of the Michigan Dogman. What you think, Wendy?
I think people think they saw something. I don't know how much. I believe a part dog, part man, that doesn't change at the full moon. They saw something.
Yeah. So, well, you're saying that you just you find a hard time believing in the Dogman?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Have you ever seen the movie Dog Soldiers?
I don't believe I have.
It's actually a werewolf movie, but I think it kind of like feeds into the fact of like genetically altered creatures to become soldiers, and the government made these creatures, and they attack these people, and they kind of chase them through the woods. It's pretty good if you ever check it out. Dog Soldiers, that's a good one. If you're looking for a good werewolf movie to watch. I don't know if there's actually a really good Dogman movie though.
Well, one just come out.
What's it called?
I think Dogman Saves from the book, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like the
Animated
the
dog.
animated
The Dogman.
the Dogman. What is he? He's a cop, right?
He is.
And so what are some other characters in there? Are there other cryptids, or is he just the only one?
I'm not real sure. I think he might be the only one.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about? What do you? Okay. Well, let's break this down a little bit. Okay. So let's just give out the benefit of the doubt, and let's say that Dogman is real. Which one of the theories do you think would be the most plausible?
What do you mean, which theory?
Well, let's say for instance, like science discovered like a Dogman, and I read like a list of theories like.
Okay, so we're talking. Okay, so the government whooped up in a petri dish a bunch of different, like.
I mean, that's one of the theories. I'm saying, which one do you find the most plausible? Do you think he's like just a flesh and blood creature? Could he be like a relic hominid, which is like a species left over from a long time ago? Do you think he could be interdimensional? Do you think he could be a mythological creature that just kind of hung around? That was the basis for mythology. Do you think he was created in a lab? What do you think it would be the most plausible for him?
I guess I would probably think he would have to be like an interdimensional creature. Because it says that he supposedly surfaces, this is one of the folklore, every 10 years,
Yep.
In years that end in 7. I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, it's 10 years, 2027. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not real sure.
I wonder what the significance of years that end in 7 are. I guess because
doesn't say.
it started in 1887, but still, why it would choose to show up when years that end in 7?
Appears in a 10-year cycle that falls on years ending in 7 and can be deterred, ran away by clapping loudly like a dog.
I mean,
So
that sounds like a
just
dog.
shooed
Yeah.
away. Get out of here.
Yeah, get out. Yeah. I don't know. You know, people say like Bigfoot is an interdimensional sometimes too. Do you think that Bigfoot could be interdimensional, or do you think Bigfoot could be like a
I
like hominid
think
or like a wood
just
ape or what?
really good at hiding in the woods and
That's what I think.
uh, staying away from being detected. And I think he's just a smart, um, you know, bipedal cryptid.
So you do believe in Bigfoot, just not the Dogman.
Yeah.
I wonder if Dogmen are just not misinterpreted Bigfoot.
Could
Yeah.
be.
But sometimes when people describe Dogman, they talk about the pointed ears, kind of like when you see a Doberman with a cropped ear or whatever,
Yeah.
kind of like that. Like they've seen them, and they're like your classic werewolf stories that you hear with the ears stand up. I think the origin of werewolves come from France, from the Rougarous. That's just a little side story there, which I think is kind of fascinating. You know, vampires come from like Transylvania. Werewolves come from France.
Right. Well, like it says, the amber eyes, bipedal, canine-like animal with the torso of a man. So, are we talking like a centaur, or, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. You know, it is another version of a half man, half beast. In history and mythology, I mean, could it be? Here's what I think. I think like a lot of times you have these like mythological creatures, like like they talk about the Anubis, or they talk about the the Greek mythology, creatures or whatever. I think there's truth in everything at some point. So perhaps like they did see something that resembled this, that started their belief system, that could potentially exist to this day. But maybe it's misinterpreted as like, instead of like a dog, it's just a Bigfoot. Like I said, like I think it's just a Bigfoot.
Well, just like people look different. People have larger ears, or larger nose, or larger feet, or um, more slim fit, more muscular build, or more, dumpy build. I guess the same could be for every creature.
Yeah.
So,
And you talk about the shining eyes, that glow at night. They mention it in the story that I told. I would just like to read this real quick here. The reason that animals' eyes shine at night, it's known as eye shine. It's caused by a reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum, located behind the retina. And I think it's interesting to note, though, that primates do not have this.
well, I think it's supposed to help them see better at night.
It does. It does, but it's also the reason why they shine at night. I always wonder why their eyes glow in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think what do you think about uh, genetically altered like animals to like create this creature? Do you think that's plausible?
I think, anything's possible.
Yeah, it's a good story to a movie, if nothing else.
It is. I feel like there was a point in time to where, if somebody would have said Bigfoot, I'd have been like, what?
Yeah.
So the more you learn about something, the more educated you get about it, it may change your belief system.
Yeah.
I'm not close to it, but I haven't heard, read, or seen enough to, I guess, make me a full 100% believer in the Dogman.
That's a good point to bring up. Linda S. Godfrey that I mentioned, she was 100% skeptical. She did not believe in this one bit. She thought this was nonsense. She thought this was like some bullshit that people were making up. And she went in, and like I said, she started researching this like she's a journalist. She's looking for facts. She's looking for evidence. She's looking for eyewitnesses. She's looking for people that she can vet to tell her story. And after she started talking to these people, hundreds of people, and gathering all this evidence, she became a full-on believer in it. She felt that it was a very important story that needed to be told and needed to be investigated, and she believed to the day she died that it was real. And you can read her books, and she presents a lot of evidence in her books that makes the case for it being a real creature. So I think that's a fascinating aspect to this, even if you are skeptical. And I understand why you would be, because it's hard to imagine a 6 foot tall, like dog like creature walking around. But I mean, we don't really know what's out there. So
That is true.
I'm glad you keep an eye. You keep a door open. I think it's good to keep a door open. I also think it's good to be skeptical because there are a lot of bullshit out there. Um, but the fact that she was so skeptical and that she found enough evidence to turn it around, I think that's pretty telling in her story, and for her as what she did as a journalist and stuff. I think if I recommend that everybody out there, if you're interested in this, go read some of her books. Um, she has quite a few books on the subject. She's been on podcasts. I've heard her talk before she passed away. Um, she's a very interesting character. So if this story fascinates you, Eddie, look her up because she's your go to informant for this subject. Um, one of the one of the more fascinating stories of Dogman that I've heard comes from Skinwalker Ranch. Now, back when Bigelow owned Skinwalker Ranch and was doing experiments out there, one of the stories is these people were on the ranch and they were doing their experiments and you know whatever they were doing, and these guys, I think it was one of the farmers who lived on the property. They came around the corner and by a fence near where their cattle were, they saw two upright dog men wearing trench coats and a hat and smoking a cigarette
What the hell?
on Skinwalker Ranch. And this is one of the more famous claims that come out of Skinwalker Ranch. And you know what Skinwalker Ranch is famous for? It's in the title. We know UFOs are over there. We know there's a lot of government testing over there. The people that were there claimed to their deathbed that they truly saw two dog men in trench coats smoking on the property.
I think they might have been smoking some damn peyote or.
But you know what I thought about when I heard? So we've been watching. What's this show called?
Blind Program?
No. Skinwalker. What's it called? Something Skinwalker Ranch.
Secret.
The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. Yes, thank you. Goddamn. They found that carcass on the property.
Yes.
And so they I don't know if you watched the show, but they found this carcass on the property and they tested it, and it came back to show evidence of a dire wolf that died thousands of years ago. 10,000 years ago. And they had a carcass that contained this genetic material along with bones. I mean, they had evidence of it. That kind of made me think about seeing the upright dog as well. Like I thought about that as soon as I saw that evidence on the show. It's fascinating to think that there is some sort of canid hanging around Skinwalker Ranch. Who knows what it is?
Now, I was going to say I could see something maybe in the midst of changing form or whatever, such as a skinwalker, and it maybe having a head or whatever at the same time as it's morphing. But wearing a trench coat, I don't know. I mean, I don't think the Men in Black have turned into skinwalkers.
No. Well, the Men in Black aren't skinwalkers, but
I know that.
I know. I'm just saying. It's I don't know. It's a crazy story. I mean, you know, with the paranormal and the way that the paranormal goes, I think it's best to look at things. You have to look at things from very skeptical, but scientific. What's the evidence? Where does it take you? When you hear stories like this, though, some of these stories are so crazy. It's almost like, how are they not true?
Or how are you believing the words that are coming out of your mouth? Like,
I mean, you know,
and I get that. I mean,
you know, it's like, why would somebody come to you and say, I just saw a dog standing upright wearing a trench coat smoking a cigarette? That sounds like, to me, I'd be afraid to tell you that because you're probably going to think I'm fucking crazy. You know?
oh yeah, you're going to put me in damn brawling or something.
Yeah, I'm going to end up in a mental institute. So, you know, I understand that people fabricate tales to like make them sound sensationalized, but why would you make that up? Why would that be what you came up with? Like, why couldn't it just be, you know, I saw like 2 alien grays? I mean, I think that would be more believable than the 2 canines standing upright,
Or
you know?
Bigfoot.
Yeah, or I saw 2 Bigfoot, or you know, I saw something, you know? Why would you come up with a story like, I saw a couple dogs in trench coats smoking? It's just so far fetched to me that it almost has to be true.
You know, I don't know if you remember, but there was a segment on Paranormal Caught on Camera where this guy had, I guess, been walking home and he felt like he was being followed.
Yeah.
And when he got home, he started recording because he could see out the corner of his eye something in his window.
Right.
And he would go to his door or his window and like recording it as he's talking to the camera himself. And something's like phew, flying by him so damn fast that, I mean, it's like a blur.
Yeah.
And he swears that it was a werewolf.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He said it was actually a werewolf?
Yeah.
Was it outside the house or inside?
Outside.
That's
Well,
awesome.
if it was inside, it would have probably torn up.
I mean, you know,
He was afraid to keep going to the window because he was afraid that it would be there. You know, when like he opened his curtain or whatever, but he kept wanting to check to make sure that it was gone.
Yeah.
And he would go to the door and, you know, like, well, I don't see nothing. And like, I mean, you could see it, but the shit was so fast that, I mean, literally all you could see was like a black, like, blur real fast.
I didn't see this. Did they slow it down so you could like make it shape out?
They did. And I mean, you know, of course, the folklorists and the investigators, you know, were making out parts, but, you know, to me, it was just so fast. I really couldn't make anything out.
Right.
But he swears that, you know, he saw a werewolf following him.
That's fascinating. I mean, tales from werewolves had to come from somewhere. I mean, like I said before, there's truth in every story somewhere, some way. Somebody got inspiration from something. So maybe somebody did see something. Another story that comes from, I'm not trying to turn this into a Skinwalker story, but another story that comes from Skinwalker is these people took a photograph that supposedly shows like a Bigfoot type creature coming out of a portal. And
on Skinwalker?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a copy of the photo. I'll try to find it and show it to you. But it's you can probably Google it. It pops up. But it's hard to tell what it is. But it's almost like a light. It's a light anomaly that shows up, and you see like a figure coming out of it. And it doesn't look like your traditional like Bigfoot though. It's more like a light being coming from the portal. And they claimed it was a Bigfoot coming out of a portal. I don't know. Very strange.
Did they watch it climb out of the portal?
Yeah, they photographed it.
So,
but I wonder if it's not a Bigfoot, could it have been a Rougarou or a Dogman?
Anything's possible, I
Could maybe they show up wearing the trench coats?
Could be. Might be cold where they're from.
I know. Do you think some people think that Bigfoot could be like furry aliens, and there's like weird tales of high strangeness where you get these furry alien creatures near UFOs. What if a dogman is actually the furry creatures that they're seeing?
And yeah, that's what I said. If it's not an interdimensional being,
Yeah.
then I have a hard time believing that a chick and a dog had a baby.
Well, I mean that would be impossible anyway.
And this little freak of nature spit out. So
you ain't nothing but a hound dog, baby.
crying all the time.
Crying all the time. Supposedly, according to FamilySearch.org, I'm related to Elvis.
Huh.
Through third cousin removed, some shit like that. I can't remember, but supposedly I'm related to Elvis.
Okay.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much. Let's look up how many states has the dogman been seen. Let's look. I want to know just how broad he is. Let's see here. How many states has the dogman? Let's see. Here we go. Again, the answer is dun dun dun. No definitive state. No definitive documentation. But he's been seen in Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada. Mostly around Michigan and Wisconsin, though. I find it interesting. He's kind of like
maybe the damn Yankee.
Well, Michigan's kind of half and half on the Yankees. Sorry, Joe. Man, that's what we need to do. We need to go pile up at Joe's house and take advantage of his hot tub and tell him we're searching for Dogman.
Yeah, but
Yeah, he said we don't need a reason though. We could just show up. He's got a fully furnished barn out by his house. We could go stay in.
Look for the Dogman. No thanks. I think I'll stay inside with my own kind.
That was the thing. It's like we could tell him we're looking for Dogman, but then we just go hang out in his hot tub. Oh man. Final thoughts on the Dogman, Wendy. What you think?
Interdimensional, mistaken identity, Bigfoot.
Do you think it's okay? I didn't ask you this. A relic hominid is a creature that has survived throughout time that we thought was extinct, but is still around. Could that be possible with a 6 foot tall Dogman?
I don't know that I've heard any account of a Dogman ever. So that kind of knocks that out.
I don't think I've sold Wendy on the Dogman.
Yeah, I don't. I've never heard tales of, like the muscular man with a dog head. So, yeah, I think I'm going to stay with interdimensional or mistaken identity.
Nothing at all. These couple of tales that we have coming up this week and the next couple of weeks, it's good to pay homage to the people who took the time to investigate these stories. And even if they're not true, at least they took the time to.
They're entertaining at least.
Entertaining. And they're doing the work to try to prove it. So this week we spotlight Linda Scoffery. I hope you go check her out. Check out her books. I know she's passed, but she is definitely worth reading. Once again, I know I've been like kissing her ass the whole thing, but you can't really do a Dogman story without talking about her. We wouldn't be talking about Dogman if it wasn't for Linda Scoffery. Anyway, next week we'll have another person that you need to check out. Same with the following week. So be on the lookout for that in the next couple of weeks on the show. Some homage to people who taken the time to try to prove or disprove stories for us. and people who are putting in the hard work out there in the field. Very important in this field. So here's to all those people who do the hard work for us while we sit back and just talk about it.
And criticize the hell out of them.
Oh, man. So anybody out there, if you've had a Dogman story, if you've seen a Dogman, heard a Dogman, you got a picture of a Dogman, you know a friend who saw a Dogman,
I would like to see it.
we want to see the pictures. We want the evidence. I want to see the footprint. I want to see the body. Anything you got?
I could be swayed. You never know with little proof.
Hey, you never. People,
and I'm not talking about a ChatGPT,
AI photograph.
Enhanced, yes, no.
Beast of Bray Road. That's a pretty definitive story. I don't know. I think Beast of Bray Road that alone gives me a little bit of like, maybe this is true because a lot of people talk about that.
Well, beast can be, I feel like, could be a ton of things.
Yeah.
Not just specifically one.
Right.
So,
it's described as a candidate. We'll see. But if you have this story, if you have those pictures, send us an email at thehauntologicalsociety@gmail.com. Go find us on Facebook. Go find us on Instagram. We're finally on Instagram. Check out there. I'll be posting pictures from us recording and video. Plus, I'll upload the show photo and any other thing you want. Give us a rate and review. 5-star reviews always help us get more listeners. The more we get, the more listeners we get. So please help us out.
Like, follow, share.
Hit that alert button. Make sure you hit the bell. What else? What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, check out our merch store. I have a link on our Facebook page for that and our Instagram page. Go buy some merch. You missed our 15% off sale this weekend for the 4th of July. So hopefully we'll have another one coming up next holiday. Who knows? Maybe I'll pop one on you. Anything else? Am I missing something?
I don't.
I feel like I'm missing something. Anyway, fuck it. Everything's good. And for that, I'm Eric.
I'm Wendy.
We're out.